This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my third review of The Bad Batch, going over the episode titled Replacements. And this was a very good episode. I will warn you about spoilers, and let's go into it. We start off with Tech working on a device to be able to detect inhibitor chips and see how active they are. And we also see that the shuttle of theirs, I believe its name is the Havoc Marauder, has been taken extreme damage in their escape from Saleucami and needs repairs. Tech says that the damage isn't going to be lethal and should be sustainable, and almost immediately after, the ship is pulled from hyperspace and crashes down towards an unknown moon. There, Wrecker hits his head and seems to have pain right where his inhibitor chip is, which seems pretty odd. He is told to stay behind as Tech and Echo go out to work on the ship. While out there, they are not unknowingly being tracked by a type of creature that feeds on power, and mainly they have repaired the ship until one of the energy capacitors is stolen by this creature, which makes them go back on the ship. And continuing on, Hunter and the rest of the team go out. Micah joins them, and they eventually were able to find the energy capacitor, although Hunter almost dies when his breath mask is knocked off of him. But Omega is able to continue the mission on and get it back from the future, which realizes it just only wants power, and, well, power as in electricity, not like Palpatine power. And she tosses her flashlight to him. The creature eats it, and Omega is able to retrieve the capacitor so they could leave. But let's cut to the more interesting story of this, because that was a good story, but the secondary story, which I feel like was more the main story because of the title, Replacements, is when Crosshair is given a new squad of regular human recruits to go on a mission to try and kill Saw Gerrera on Onderon. This is a test to see if these conscripted soldiers will be better than clones, and although the test does seem successful, the mission is much more complicated than that. They attack a group of Saw's rebels and some refugees who are basically given just the opportunity to escape by Saw's men, but things get very bad very fast with a conflict between both Crosshair and one of the new Imperial troopers, with them thinking that clones are obsolete and agreeing with the thoughts of both Tarkin and the soon-to-be promoted Admiral Rampart that conscripted soldiers are the future. But Crosshair is very, very furious with them, and this eventually climaxes when they are at Saw's men, and Crosshair shoots one of them dead, even though they're unarmed, and orders for the rest of the civilians to be killed. One of them refuses, which leads to Crosshair killing them, and ordering the rest of his men to either kill the civilians or to share the fate with their fellow soldier. They, of course, do execute them, and this moment definitely confirms that this show is not going to be that kid-friendly, and it'll be darker like the Clone Wars was, and it'll be far more mature than Rebels was, or even the Clone Wars was in its first season. This definitely is the strongest show straight off the bat, and I can't wait to see it continue. But finishing up this recap quickly, they return to Kamino, where Tarkin leaves Admiral Rampart, we promote to be the head at Kamino and oversee the operations there, so he could likely return, and probably leads to the scene where he looks over the Death Star with both Palpatine and Vader. And that's just really my guess here, and I'll go back to that. And now, the Kaminoans are very suspicious that they are going to lose their contracts with the Empire, so they realize that they somehow have to get the Bad Batch back to make a new type of clone that will guarantee their contracts. This was an amazing but dark episode, and honestly, I'm so glad of it. There were, of course, a small amount of doubts, but I did believe in them that this would be more like Rebels was when it started off, and drops that in the level of violence and darkness that it has. But no, this is continuing straight on. There's almost no chance that this is going to be able to be as low in, well, real violence as either Rebel Seasons 1, Clone Wars Season 1, or probably all of Resistance. I don't know, I have not watched Resistance and do not plan to. I could not get through the first episode of that, which was pretty brutal. So, looking at this, Clone Wars Season 1 at least had a good amount, but it was still pretty kid-friendly. And Rebels Season 1 was extremely kid-friendly, but this one, yeah, this is definitely a level of later seasons of Clone Wars where we get so many people being executed, and that scene alone, I don't think it has a rival in any of the shows or seasons. A few that I could think of that could be potential runner-ups is when General Grievous kills that one guy in the second episode of the R2-D2 is Missing arc. I think it's Downfall of Droids or something. I can't remember its name off the top of my head. And only potentially rivaled by the scene in Rebels where they imply that the Grand Inquisitor cuts off the heads of the two incompetent troopers. But that's really it, and that scene I was talking about was implied when they at least showed the Grievous kill. So, it's really up to you to think about it. But, to me, I think that this is definitely setting a more mature tone. And honestly, I really like that. It's so nice to have something that is more aimed towards adult viewers and not towards children. And at least to me, this was one of the second best episode of the show. I think the best was the premiere, since it has set up so much and so much happened. But it is a little unfair since that episode is longer. But I still really enjoyed it. Going on, I think that really my favorite episodes of the show were this one and the premiere, of course, but I can't wait to see where it continues. I definitely think that there's so much interesting stuff set up. I definitely want to see what the Kaminoans' plots are, and if they're either going to make an elite trooper, and if that fails, if they're going to do a clone rebellion, or if they're going straight for a clone rebellion in the type of logic to show that, like the guy in John Wick 3, sorry, I can't think of something off the top of my head. The owner of the Continental in New York, that they are trying to show a show of power to be able to prove that they are the ones who should keep the contract to clone the army and should not be hired troopers. Of course, I think that, well, I know that's going to fail because we know that the armies are made up of many troopers that are recruits in the more modern day of the Empire at its height during the original trilogy. And the show is so good because we both know where it's going with some storylines, but with others, we don't know since these characters have not appeared in any other forms of Star Wars past, of course, the scenes in the show that we've seen at this point. So we really don't know their future. The only ones we can guarantee the fates of is Tarkin and Saw Gerrera, from who we've actually seen, oh, and Caleb Doom, both the characters that have interacted with the Bad Batch. But really, everyone else is left up to interpretation. And I know we did see Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Grievous in that opening montage, but they have not interacted with them in the show, so we cannot say that technically, but although we do know where they're going. And the same goes for Rex, who we know they'll interact with, but those are really the only ones we have confirmed fates of. The show is already rivaling the Clone Wars in quality, and I would say that ranks pretty high in my Star Wars ranking. Of all Star Wars shows, The Clone Wars is my favorite, with The Mandalorian taking up second place. This one has already passed Rebels to me, and of course, it passes Resistance almost automatically, since, I couldn't get through the first episode of that. But so far, I'm not going to fully judge it all the way, since we're only 3 episodes in, and there are 13 left. So I really can't wait to see it, and I'm excited for it. Of course, they've done a very good job with these characters, and I'm probably going to say this a bunch, but D. Bradley Baker has done such a good job with this, since he plays almost every main character besides Omega in this show. So that's really just crazy. I'm wondering if Wrecker's inhibitor chip has actually been activated in that crash, and if he's going to slowly start to turn on them, and it will climax perhaps in the mid-season, or so around maybe episode 8 or 9. And with that episode, Wrecker will temporarily turn on them, but they'll figure out how to disable the inhibitor chip without removing it from the head, because I feel like there's a very low chance that they're going to be able to pin Wrecker down long enough for him to be able to get the inhibitor chip removed from him, since he has such powerful strength. But they could just remove it and use that inhibitor chip to start to figure out how to disable the other ones. But either way, I think that they're going to figure out how to disable the inhibitor chips, perhaps by the end of this season. And if it has a season 2, maybe they'll be saved for that. Perhaps they'll end the season saving Crosshair from his inhibitor chip, because unlike most Star Wars villains, Crosshair had absolutely no choice, although Anakin had close to no choice because of Palpatine's psychological manipulations of him. There was still a chance that he could have overcame that and been able to do it all he wanted, and just let Palpatine die, and for the Republic to continue on. But because of his inhibitor chip, Crosshair has no choice. He's essentially being mind controlled, and I would not be surprised if inhibitor chips become illegal in the Star Wars universe after the Empire falls and the Age of the New Republic begins. Of course, I think they were also used in the Aftermath trilogy on prisoners, so it could be worked onto individual people. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that inhibitor chips were not put into stormtroopers for both the Empire and First Order, so they could have full control of their troopers and force them to commit some pretty horrible atrocities. But if they did that, someone like Finn would probably not be able to escape unless they used his force sensitivity to be able to override the inhibitor chip inside of him, which would be pretty interesting if you think of it. It might be a fun retcon to put in. But overall, I think that this show has just been amazing. I cannot wait to see for it to continue, and only have a quick announcement for next week's episode of my series. Not really the Bad Batch, but I'm probably not going to get that one out immediately at 9:30. I'm probably going to be getting home later at night on Friday, and won't have a chance to really record until Saturday. So I will not have it out, most likely at 9:30 a.m., and I may not release it until Sunday, if the only chance I get to record is at night, because at that point, I don't think many people will be willing to watch it, even though not many people watch it already. All content already on my channel, and for those who do, I really am thankful to you, but I just really don't want to be releasing, a video at potentially, maybe like, considering the time I usually get, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock at night would be when I would be finishing it. So I feel like that's pretty late, and would rather just release it Sunday morning. So if that does happen, I will release it Sunday. But if I do get a chance to record, it could be out anytime between Saturday morning to maybe like 6 o'clock at night, and if not, then I'll release it that Sunday. But really, overall, I had such a fun time watching the show and can't wait to see it continue. I'm excited for the rest of the season and to watch the next episode next Friday. I, of course, would have seen it and only had to make the review, and may even get a second chance to watch it before I do this review, so I may even get to see it twice, because I usually record this on the Friday and release it the next day, because I just sort of made a tradition of releasing it on Saturday, giving everyone a day to watch it, and then releasing my video, and really, that's it. I am so excited and can't wait to continue. I'll see you guys all in the next episode of Watches and Theories, which are all planned and have already been recorded and will release on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The videos are about how long Padme was pregnant for, which does have a minor Bad spoiler in it. The next will be a show that could potentially replace Batwoman when it is what seems to be inevitably cancelled. And the last one is a comparison between Billy Butcher from The Boys TV show and Baron Zemo from Falcon and Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. At least for now, because he's probably appearing on other stuff. and I'll choose an MCU appearance. So those are the 3 videos that we'll be releasing in that order. It will release at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So whatever it is adjusted for in your time, you can probably quickly figure that out with a quick Google search. But that's really it. And I'm so excited. And I'll be having a more engaged but perhaps shorter videos during the summer. And then I have to find times to record, since I usually record during either lunch breaks for school or other times. So I'm going to have to find quiet times, and we'll probably have to record at night for channel content. But I am really excited, and we'll see you guys all in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please like the video, leave some comments, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends, and may the Force be with you